spend, thousands of education into, conscientizing them, making sure that they attend to know their status and to know what, you would have a lot of challenge. Where I have been in Kano, I have been to Kano before, and what I saw, to be frank, was not something anybody should experience. Where people have challenge in receiving medical care, seeing book or doctors as enemies to their traditional medicines, is something that is ongoing in some part of Nigeria. And so some of us have seen that to be so much absurdity, because why should you, in this modern era, would not want to have an experience of a modern day, medicine, but rather believing in, do you know that somebody, until it gets to a point where they are not able to manage it, then they would be looking out for hospitals. They have this belief of leaves, you take the leave, you are able to live safety, and and a whole kinds of beliefs. So in as much as we want to blame the government for not doing so much, we should also look at how we accept the, our people in the area of, education. Yes.
Thank you very much. We are hoping that, I wouldn't know how to feel when it so happens that Ghana is the leading country as far as worldwide, globally, not even in Africa, globally, as far as maternal mortality is concerned. That is a very bad blot, or that would be a very bad blot on the country. And so in Nigeria, I don't think it is any different. I'm just hoping that the narrative changes. Maternal mortality in general has reduced since 2000, since the year 2000 by some 40%. But there's still more, there's still room for improvement, and we are hoping fervently that a lasting solution is found to this. Away from that, while we slept last night, majority in Parliament, or Parliament I would say, passed a bill that would impose 1 Ghana cedi on every liter of fuel that you buy. So this is it. I'm looking at it from different angles. E-levy imposed 1 cedi on transfers above 100 Ghana cedis, sending money to another person which was above 100 Ghana cedi. E-levy imposed 1 cedi. Now with this levy on fuel, when you buy fuel, let's say you buy 10 liters of fuel, which should cost you 120 cedis, you are paying 12 cedis on that. So that should amount to 132 cedis if a liter is, or if a liter sells at 12 Ghana cedis. So really we are looking, if you are comparing the numbers, the amounts, the percentages, obviously the fuel bits would be more. But there's also the argument that almost everybody does Momo transactions, but not everybody has a car. So, I'll explore other parts of it. Not everybody has a car. You understand? Not everybody has a car. Of course, we can have the argument that the commercial transport drivers will ensure that 1 cedi trickles down to the commuter, the person who uses the trotro. That argument is also there. But we have a country to run. And like I earlier stated, there are certain things that are inevitable. 2 of them, death and taxes. Everybody would die. We'd have to pay taxes to ensure that we see developments in the country. So that argument is also there. So really, we have repealed e-levy, we have repealed the betting tax, the emissions levy has also been repealed, but then we need to find other reasonable, in quotes, reasonable means of, increasing our money as a country in order to ensure that we have funds available for expenditure. So what should government do really? And especially, and I'm playing the devil's advocate, I would want to play the devil's advocate here, especially when just a few weeks ago, we're buying fuel for about 3 Ghana cedis more than what we are buying now. And so if 1 Ghana cedi now is being added to it, can't we just look at it as, you know, a little hike in fuel, especially when a few weeks ago we were buying it for way more than what we are buying currently? Should that not be a reasonable argument? You were buying it at 15, you weren't complaining. If you are buying it at 13 and that 1 Ghana cedi on it is going to be used for development, why not?
So, if I understand you, the reasons for this introduction of 1 Ghana cedis to the energy levy or petroleum levy is that we want that for development, not for settling our debts.
Dumso.
And then Dumso and the rest. That is the main reason.
Yes, for Dumso, yeah.
What was the reason for the introduction of electronic levy? What was the reason? The reason was that we needed more money to be able to do our rules, to get our energy sector stabilized, to get our, development and growth going. So yes, any country that need to enhance their revenue need to take charge of certain productive areas. If we decide as a country to put in levies on everything that we do, the question the Ghanaian would want to know is, how will that enhance the person who is paying that 1 cedi, for example, living standard? How will that change his living conditions as a taxpayer? Yes, in the past, we were made to believe before 2016 that there were a lot of nuisance taxes on the petroleum products. And the past government made it a point where they campaigned to get this nuisance, so-called nuisance taxes, including Kayaye taxes, repealed. Fast forward, they introduced e-levy. And you said that it's not everybody, or everybody were on Momo. It's not everybody who was on Momo.
Majority of us.
Majority, but not everybody.
Oh.
It's not everybody who was on that platform. Majority people. Now, and there was a cutoff point where if you are transferring more than 100 cedis or below 100 cedis, you were not going to be affected.
But I'm coming not to take the wind out of your sail. That 100 Ghana cedi argument was limited to daily transaction. So your total daily transaction should not exceed,
whether daily
or
not daily.
Yes,
there was that understanding that if you are doing 100 cedis, and the reason was that in the rural areas, a lot of people were not doing much transfers, and so they decided to cap it beyond and below, so that if you are doing below, you are tax exempted. If you are doing high, it means that you have more to do. Therefore, you would be caught. Now, I am trying to introduce this element of the idea or the rationalization of the e-levy and this new 1 Ghana cedis. If for any reason at all, we as a country have so much to do, and given the fact that the energy sector has a lot of challenges, this government has come to meet a lot of challenges, so-called challenges, including Dumso clearing. And we are trying very hard to get some areas to support the energy sector so we can have a stable energy to do or to run our businesses. You recall in the past, John Mahama in 2012 down on Mills, who introduced the ESLA. Mm-hmm. We paid ESLA for close to 8 years to enable us retire the energy sector debts. We were not able to complete that when these people came, and we depleted that resources accumulated for that purpose. We are back with the same problem, because today, as we speak, the independent power producers has a lot of concerns. They haven't been paid over the years, to the extent that even to get crew for our generators to power, get us stable power, is an issue. And this is where we are. How are we going to collectively get these issues behind us? And the introduction of this 1 Ghana cedis into the petroleum prices, and I will come to justify or to argue with you where you said that we were buying fuel at this price, and now this is where we are. And yes, so if you look at the history of how much we have always paid to support the energy sector and how it did not help the Ghanaian, this cannot be a justification for which reason we are adding 1 Ghana cedis to be able to get us stable power or to enable us get where we want to be as a country in terms of growth and development. Because look, there are several loopholes where we can go to, block, so we can enhance the revenue and making sure that we utilize it accordingly without further emburdening the taxpayer or the Ghanaian. We have had a lot of challenges for the past 8 years, and Ghanaians voted massively. Ghanaians, not NDC. Ghanaians voted massively for NDC simply because of what we went through in the hands of NPP. And so if today we had a honeymoon for 4 months and you start to introduce something that we have cried over and over, and fortunately we're delivered by God, and we are going back into the same issues of paying. It's like taking us away from electronic transfers and bringing us onto a petroleum where the energy sector where nobody can also dodge. And you said that not everybody drives. Can you say that my mother in the village would cut her goods from the district level, transport it to the regional level? The Aboboyers would buy fuel. The motor riders in Wa, the motor riders in Tamale, the motor riders in Upper East would buy fuel. And in most cases, these are the source of transportation. So if you are here thinking that because e-levy is scrapped, we should find a way to introduce another levy into the petroleum products where you cannot do away with, and you can only accept it whether you like it or not, is something nobody should accept. For us, or for me in particular, I find it most unfortunate because we haven't, our wounds are not healed yet. And for only a night that we hear and hardly passed a bill to support the collection of 1 Ghana cedis through the petroleum products. I mean, how on earth can we reconcile? And for me, it is not as if that all those revenues we have collected have been put to good use. The roads are still under construction, and some are even in their deplorable rates, where you are not able to have a smooth route from the district to the regional capitals, where the farmers are still struggling to get their produce from the farms to the houses or to the market, and yet we're still talking about getting revenue through the petroleum products. How are we going to reconcile this blessing? Because yes, it is important as a state, and if you recall, and these people are even talking about sustainability of the dollar. We as a country thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his good team for making sure that the dollar is down. Are you aware, again, that the dollar is dropping, and yet the crude prices internationally is going up? And even yesterday, I am told that they increased a little, fuel prices internationally, but yet still, because of the dollar, it is down. So if you want to say that because we are enjoying reduced rates or the reduced prices, in the event where the prices or the dollar is breaking the chains and trying to fight back, what happens? Are we still going to look at it same, or they would come to reduce it? Because the whole of this is that the dollar is gaining, the CD is gaining grounds, the dollar is losing, and so, prices of oil prices or fuel prices are down, for which reason we can smuggle some, 1 Ghana cedis into that sector so we can get to raise revenue to do whatever we want to do. Yes, of course. The question that we are asking, or I am asking, is how long can we continue doing this, and how long are we going to look at this, that the 1 Ghana cedis is increased for 6 months, 1 year, or is going to continue? Because bear in mind, opposition is watching. You made so much noise before when you came, and what is the idea that you scrap one, electronic levy, and then you are introducing $1? What is the idea? You could easily leave it and then leave this one as well, and then go on to tax the electronic transactions. But to scrap this, scrap emission levy, and come back with another, for me is the same thing. What is the difference?
Fine. I have a few questions for you. I've done a little research on the daily national consumption of petrol and diesel in Ghana. And in 2017, it was 10.2 million liters. So it means that if for every liter we are paying 1 Ghana cedi, it means that we'll be getting some 10.2 million Ghana cedi every day. If I'm going by that 2017
analysis
average, of course, it should be more right now. There are more cars in the system now than there were in 2016. There are more, in 2017.
Motorcycles, tricycles.
Exactly. Even 2017, the Okada wasn't really,
booming like now.
So let's say on average, let's say we are going by that 10 million liters daily. It means that in every month we are looking at 300 million Ghana cedis from this levy. That has been imposed on petrol and diesel. I also want to find out from you, in the scheme of affairs, how significant is that 1 cedi increment in fuel prices? How significant would that be in the scheme of affairs? And I'm also still tying it to the fact that over the last few weeks, we have seen some improvements, especially in petroleum prices. We've seen a reduction. Now, you are a bit skeptical about government being able to maintain that threshold, if we can, so that we do not see a spike in the dollar again, and then would have to pay for it, and then fuel prices would go as far as 17, 18, or 20 as it did, a few months ago. There's that skepticism. So can't we have any confidence in government that, okay, especially from what the president has told us about where the dollar is going to be? He's saying that the true value of the dollar should be between 10 and 12 Ghana cedis. It means that what that means is that we are not going to see too much of a hike that would go way beyond 12, or way below 10. So it means that we can plan with that. Based on these analogies, can't we have this levy in place? And again, I'm making this argument because we have a country to run. If not this levy, where are we going to get the money from to resolve our energy issues? Where is the money going to come from? There are many facets of the economy. The education sector is there, the health sector is there. All of these sectors do not necessarily generate us money instantly. You are not getting money from education. You are not making money from health ideally because you are paying for national health insurance scheme. Now again there is this initiative by government, they call it Mahama Cares, for chronic diseases. You understand? So where is the money going to come from if not the taxes?
You see, don't confuse this to understanding of the dollar and the levy. I'm saying that I have confidence in this government.
Okay.
I have absolute confidence in NDC government, given the fact that from January to date, we've seen a significant improvement in the appreciation of the cedi. All right? And I'm saying that, look, it is not prudent, okay, to take off one aspect of the levy or revenue avenue and then introducing another. It is like looking at a direction where you can get to arrive at a particular place. You have two avenues. I have one that will lead from Pan-African TV, and I have one that will lead from Mawako. That will take me to where I am going. So we made noise that as a country, the living conditions of the individuals or the citizens were not something to write home about. Therefore, there was the need for government to cushion workers, for government to cushion traders, for government to cushion, its citizenry. So if government decide to make this noise and get the opportunity to govern, only for us to wake up with another slap where you made noise, is it the convenient way of getting people to believe in that this particular one was inimical to the progress of the ordinary Ghanaian, but this is targeting a certain class of people in the economy? Is it the case where this is where they wanted Ghanaians to believe that yes, introducing electronic levy was something that would punish a lot of people, so therefore let's make noise and take it out? And indeed, it was taken out and everybody was happy. Okay, the market woman and everybody who one way or the other was using electronic transfers or electronic, doing transactions electronically, was happy. But to wake up again, to introduce another levy in the area of where people would always purchase, and that would have a ripple effect on the ordinary Ghanaian. Just as yesterday, or the day before yesterday, we had transport unions, coming out to say they have to reduce their prices simply because the dollar is down. And of course, yes, once the dollar is down, it has some, effect on petroleum products. It has some effect on import goods. It has several, multiplier effects on the economy. And you decide to say, look, let's take out this aspect of, revenue collection and move it to this. It means that you are targeting some high-class profile people so that they would be the people to, feel this pinch. But the effect actually is not going to be on only the such class that you target. The point I'm making is this: why are we interested in increasing or introducing this levy when we have taken off the other? Why didn't you leave it if you so wish? And I'm saying that minority is looking at it, that why is it the case that what they introduced to increase or to generate revenue was something inimical. They are Ghanaians as well. So if indeed they are also going to buy fuel, they must not be part of that, the passage of the bill, because they are also Ghanaians. And in the past 8 years, where the ordinary Ghanaian growth, the ordinary Ghanaian development, the ordinary Ghanaian living standard was something that was border to NDC. We made noise, we are in power, and this is where we are as a country. Taking Robin Peter to paying Paul is something every Ghanaian should not encourage. We should not allow people to take advantage of us. They should be able to tell us, this is why we are doing A, B, C, D. And this money is going to go a long way in helping the energy sector so that we can have the energy stable.
The energy sector is in debt in the excess of $1 billion.
And that is why the local government's budget was cut down by, say, over 2 billion or 5 billion, because what's the name, sanitation levy and the rest, that amount of money that they use or they collect from that sanitation levy was always given to local government. Because of that, 10 point something billion is going to go in support of the energy sector so that they can get to defray these costs. So what else are we talking about? So if you look at that amount of money coming to support, and we still have to put in some measures to raise revenue to support the energy sector, then of course, yes, it is something that we all support, but the idea is where we are not getting,
Well, let's proceed. I would say that I have never in my life, in any country, seen a group of people being excited about a tax.
No. Nobody
is excited about taxes, yes. But the country has to run. But that is my honest opinion.
But the point is,
I actually buy fuel.
Look,
yes.
If today, trust me, as a landlord, you ask your tenants to pay for boiler fee, which is new to you, you would have to assess myself first, isn't it? Do I generate boiler? If I indeed generate boiler, fine, I will understand. Again, how does the generation of the boiler affect the compound? Those are the assessment one would do before you adopt them. So we have in the past paid bills, we have in the past paid levies, taxes, that ended up in the pocket of individuals. And yet the reasons why we paid those levies and taxes are still there. So we are finding out, why are we still doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this? And those things that for which we are paying are still standing there, not being attended to. Right. So that's the question.
Right. I'll do some messages. Then we proceed to our next topic, where we shall talk about a group that is petitioning President Mahama to revoke some last-minute appointments made in the dying members of the NPP's administration in 2024. Please, how can a tax that has been laid in Parliament be a smuggled tax? That was a statement made by your panelist. Well, did you say that it was a smuggled tax? Well, no, but of course we didn't know about it in the beginning. We were told that there was going to be such, Good morning, Bless. Let's take away the politics being peddled in the one Ghana city levy. We should rather call on the minister to account for what is accrued at the end of every month. Musa,
of course, that is the issue.
Good morning, Bless. My name is Seidu Nabicha from Yendi. So is the NDC government saying that for almost 6 months in power, they are not aware of the happenings at the GACL and GACC at Kotoka International Airport, that citizens would now have to petition the president? No wonder that Mr. MP Reverend Intim Fojo is making allegations against them. Okay, I think this has got to do with our next topic, for conversation. Let's do this one as well. Bless. So Afenyo marking does not know the difference between energy levy from electronic levy. Then he has to go back to school unless he's displaying his ignorance. Stephen from Kwabinga. Thank you, Stephen, for your message. Good morning, Bless. Tell my beloved.
I don't get that one. Which one is the energy levy? And,
you know, so they are saying that they brought e-levy and they repealed e-levy only to bring d-levy.
But that's, I just said that.
Yeah.
If you know you needed money,
should have started with the e-levy.
You understand? You should start with it because
I disagree with that.
I'm coming. You would have to look at it. You made some analysis. How much projections did we as a country have before introduction?
We were looking at 6 billion.
So did we realize it?
No, we did not. No, we did not.
And so we are talking about the energy sector. And that is where I wanted to draw your attention to the fact that a lot of people who did electronic transactions fell out and said they were not ready to do.
Yeah.
And so, but with this one, whether you like it or not, you cannot do away with it because the moment you go buy 1 liter, you are paying. Look, it's not even this one. 100 Ghana cedis, you are not paying e-levy. But with this one, whether you buy 10 Ghana cedis, you are paying 1 cedi. Go to the pump and say, I'm buying 10 cedis. You would have to pay calculated amount of levy that is imposed on it.
Well, for me, and like I said, this is my personal opinion. Of course, like I said, I buy fuel also. However, I feel that the e-levy, comparing e-levy to this 1 cedi on petroleum products, for me is comparing apples to oranges.
How?
You see, I cannot for the life of me understand why the capital of people, business people, would be taxed. Because if I'm doing business and I'm transferring, I buy a product that I'm going to sell. Of course, I'm going to sell, I'm going to put profit on the product. As soon as I buy from you and I don't pay in cash and I pay with e-levy, I pay with Momo, I'm deducted e-levy directly. Even before I take the item to my, even before I take the item to my shop to go and
paid.
I've paid.
Pay multiple.
And then that item I bought to already, there's a VAT on it.
Yo, people paid, and I am not, and I will never justify.
So for me, the e-levy, I'm coming. The e-levy, but we've been paying energy sector levy. We've been paying ESLA for so long.
Yes.
We've been paying levies on fuel for so long.
It appears you are not getting my.
I'm getting you.
I'm not comparing electronic transactions with this introduction of 1 Ghana cedis on the petroleum product.
Right.
I am not at all. Nobody will rationalize electronic transaction, especially when we want to encourage electronic, and what is his name? What Baume was saying. His term that he used, digitalization and what have you. You understand? Nobody would want to discourage that. But the point I'm making is, if indeed you know that as a country there are several challenges, including revenue collection or enhancement of revenue, why then did you make that in the past and come into rubbish or scrap it and introduce a new levy? Is it the case that we just wanted to paint e-levy black, but indeed it was fun to be with? That's the point. But considering the fact that anybody who is in the north in the past used to ride bicycle, but today people are riding motorbikes, tricycles, this Piaggio and the rest. And to do businesses. And I'm saying that when you go to the pump to buy 10 Ghana cedis fuel, you are paying 1 pesos, whether you like it or not.
1 cedi actually.
No, I mean, it would be calculated based on how much you buy. If you are buying 1 liter, it means you are paying. But if you are not buying up to 1 liter,
whatever you are buying,
there's that ratio in it.
There's that percentage.
You understand? Yeah. So I'm saying that it is as same as e-levy, that if you were not able to pay or to transfer 100 Ghana cedis, you were exempted. But in this case, whether you buy 100, you buy 10 cedis, you buy 5 cedis, you will pay a percentage.
We've been asked to widen the tax net. If you look at revenue generation, the Greater Accra region alone accounts for 90% of the revenue that we accrue here in the country. And so if we are going to bring taxes that would widen our tax nets so that people living in other parts of the country would also contribute to our GDP, that is our gross domestic product as a country, I mean, for me, like personally, that is my opinion.
Are you sure and convinced that those monies you pay would put to good use?
I mean, we would want to give the
no. I mean, we want to give. We want to give that experience.
Would want to give.
In as much as this government has decided not to spend. For a good reason. There is something we should.
I think that is the more reason why we should repose confidence in them. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
No doubt about that.
The president promised 60 ministers cap. He's done 56 so far.
Yeah.
We don't think the other 4 are
living. We don't need much as a country, but I'm saying that
we are seeing.
We hope, and I have always said that as a businessman, I would never wish doom for any government.
Any government, right. Thank you very much. Let's proceed to our next topic, but that would be after I've read 2 more messages. Good morning, Bless. Tell my beloved party and our government that Ghanaians are not against the levy, but the problem is the amount. They should reduce it to at most 50 pesos per litre, since it's coming to supplement the money from the cash waterfall. J.S. Husseini from Tamale. Thank you, Joel, for your message. Good morning, Bless. The Minister of Finance's last budget indicated that there would be a revision in some taxes, including the petroleum tax. Ghanaians should have known that this was coming. It is not smuggled. Stephen Peng. Mr. Stephen Peng, good morning. I hope you are in excellent health. Keep on watching Pan-African TV. We are extremely grateful. Good morning to you, your panelists. Please recover the stolen monies and use it to help gather energy. Use it to help gather the energy sector. Encourage the looters to pay behind closed doors. With that, they will run and come to pay. It is such a huge amount. We have to go for them. Aisha from thank you, Aisha. Okay. This one here says there's a marginal drop in fuel prices and government is taking advantage of it to solve the energy sector problem. Foster from Koforidia. Thank you, Foster, for your message. Right, let's move on to this final topic. We have just 12 minutes more. That's more than enough to discuss it. A civil society group, the Alliance for Justice and Equality, AFGE, has petitioned President John Dramani Mahama to revoke what it describes as politically motivated last-minute appointments made at the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, that is the GCAA, during the tenure of the previous administration. The story goes on to say that in the petition dated June 2, that's 2 days ago, 2025, and signed by Executive Director Aruna Mohammed and Secretary Dr. Derek Entry, the Alliance called for the immediate revocation of the appointment of Mr. Benjamin Ishen, Director of General Service, I beg your pardon, Mr. Thomas A. Wilson, Director of Corporate Planning, and Mr. Ikwamwa Boateng, Director of Air Traffic Services. According to the petitioners, these appointments reportedly made via a letter dated December 10, 2024, were allegedly handed out to known affiliates of the New Patriotic Party, despite the appointees having failed earlier interviews conducted by the Public Services Commission between December 11 and 22nd, 2023. The Alliance also questioned why these appointments had not yet been reversed, especially after a December 2024 directive by the Office of the Chief of Staff under the new government to review and possibly nullify end-of-tenure recruitments and appointments. If the newly appointed Acting Director General of the GCA has not reported the situation to the Chief of Staff, then it is most unfortunate. The petition noted the group made 4 key demands: an investigation into the recruitment process and the rationale behind the appointments; 2, a directive for the Acting Director General to provide full disclosure on the matter; 3, a forensic and value for money audit of recent major projects and procurement at the GCA; 4, an inquiry into possible use of fake or unaccredited professional certificates by some officials. AFG emphasized that its call to action was rooted in its commitment to promoting justice, equality, and accountability in public service, adding that only merit-based appointments would support the government's reset agenda. However, why is the alliance for justice and equality, hell-bent on seeing the back of these appointees by the Eswal administration.
Yes, justice. Sorry, blessing. I'm used to calling justice.
I understand.
You know, the question every Ghanaian would ask is why last-minute appointments?
Right.
Because this issue is not something that has been in the radar for long. The people who understand these narratives will tell you that every government wants to have an insider information.
Okay.
When they are out of government or power, they can have their way in every facet of the activities. And so people would want to find out why you would decide to put round holes in a square pipes. Yes, because one of them, I am told, is an IT specialist, Mr. Ishon, who is now a director, General Services. And we all know that if you want to have a competent managed business in every industry, you need to have the people who have the requisites, knowledge and skills to man that positions. And so it is not new that you would hear somebody who is an IT specialist being in the area where IT is, not where procurement is. And so this is somebody who was handpicked according to the reports or the petitioners, that they made their investigations, and the intel proven is that these people were not qualified to be where they are. But for the greed and their interest reasons, they found these people in those positions. And most especially when the information was passed on to the Ghanaians that no appointment, no recruitment should be made after 7th December. So you would want to find out what was the rationale behind getting these people who actually failed in an interview somewhere 2023. And the people are contested or applied together with these people and actually passed and qualified to be in the same position.
And those people were not.
And those people were not. And I am told that they were NDC people. So if they were NDC and you refuse them the opportunity, thinking that if they come in, what you want to do would not be achieved, therefore you would not. It is not surprising that these same people who now want to petition or have petitioned the president to take them out and bring their own. Because in actual sense, it is not just because they are NDC. It is because they were qualified.
Right.
But just as they are Ghanaians and applied for that appointment or for that position, same way those who are NDC members also applied because they were Ghanaians as well, or they are Ghanaians as well. But unfortunately, this person, Mr. Eshon, I am told in particular, has no qualification in that regards, but was asked to be there because he belongs to NPP. The same applies to the other two people. You understand? And the point people, or the argument people made, is that if yes, they are qualified as Ghanaians, same as the other contenders qualified as Ghanaians, and if they went through and failed, and the NDC went through and failed, or the NDC perceived individuals went through and passed the tests, and for a reason that they are not MPPs disqualifies them as Ghanaians, then it's most unfortunate. They are Ghanaians both, but by the virtue of their allegiance to various political parties, they stood to what? Be disadvantaged and taken out of the books of Ghanaian lists.
We're also looking at the time these appointments.
And the times, again, that those appointments were made, and why those appointments at last minute is why this group is petitioning. Not simple because in 2023, 11 to 20, was when the interview was conducted, and you left it till 10th of December 2024, and then you made this appointment, or what was the reason and what informed that reason for this appointment? And the group can be justified. And if you look at the area they seek His Excellency to do, is one, the rationale behind those appointments; two, the newly Director General, who is also an insider, who was part of all these positions, processes, knowing the fact that this is what happened, and he refused, deliberately or not, we can't tell, but refused to report this to the President or the Chief of Staff for his attention to be drawn to this fact. So we are asking the President to look into this and then act sane, investigate this matter. And then also per the report, that people have been parading fake certificates and, professional certificates and getting promoted and what have you. If that is the case, the petitioners are justified. The petitioners have every right to petition for these investigations to be conducted. Also, the nature of procurement and projects that the group is demanding, that they should have some value for money audits, so that we will get to understand why some projects were not, not delivered, or some projects were over, priced and what have you. We need to have this, as a country, get this behind us, where people would just be gifted certain positions simply because of their interests and what have you. You would agree with me that whatever happens would happen for a reason. And this is the reason why these people have petitioned. The appointment later date after 7th December was a question. Why do you have to wait and do this at the latter part of after the elections? And then also, why would someone who failed an interview, and His Excellency can just get this cross-checked with the Public Service Commission? It's there. The reports are there. And anybody who attended the interview is obliged and privileged also to have the report of whatever marks and what have you they got. And so if this group is claiming that these guys, did not pass the interview, and yet they are manning certain positions, it is something the government should investigate. Again, once people are found not to be happy in their organizations where they work, you know how it is. There will be leadership challenges. And once there is a leadership crisis, productivity would be low. And there would so much dissonance created across, the rank and files of the organization. So this group petitioned the President to look into these 4 itemized challenges where the GC, civil aviation, is chasing and having issues with. The intel is that these 3 individuals do not listen to anybody. They pay allegiance to the past Director General and the past administration.
Right.
And if that's what is going on, trust me,
it is cause for worry.
It is a serious cause for worry, especially this sensitive area of the economy. Yeah.
Right, my time is up. I need to go. I want to thank you so much. It's been an interesting conversation. I predicted that the other panelists will not make it. They won't be able to come because of the situation. But it's been an insightful conversation here on Good Morning Africa. Thank you so much, Honorable Haruna Mohammed, for your time this morning, and to our cherished viewers who joined in across the length and breadth of the country. Pan-African Television does not take your support for granted. Coming your way again tomorrow would be the newspaper review. Comrade Kwesi Pratt, hopefully, and Honorable Yunusa Husseini and Eves Hans Norty would be joining yours sincerely to discuss the issues. So that's where I'll bid you goodbye. Once again, take good care of yourself as the rains continue to pour down. I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.
Bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you.